Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
The Browns front office is a joke. The coaching staff is a joke. Andrew Berry, everybody says, oh, he's a great GM. What has he done? He gave $230 million to a guy who hasn't even played 10 games in 2 years, sat on his hands, traded DPJ for a draft pick 2 years from now. What else has he done that's so great besides tie up our payroll for Deshaun Watson? You didn't do enough to get a quarterback. They just want Cleveland to fail, I guess, because you sat on your hand and literally did nothing. We have all the talent, but we have a coach who can't call plays and a GM who sits on his hands and doesn't work the phones hard enough. I'm over the Browns. I'll become a Bengals fan before I watch another Browns game.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Let's welcome in Tyler Johnson, Faithful Dogs Podcast, as well as Network 2 and 6. Well, let me see. If you think the Browns have a lot of talent, that would be Andrew Berry acquiring all that talent and the roster. And DPJ, they weren't going to sign him. The writing was on the wall that they drafted Cedric Tillman to replace him. I've said that earlier. So you got something for a guy that you developed into an NFL caliber receiver. And the other thing that I would say, they didn't trade for a quarterback because they feel Deshaun Watson, the guy that you said he's spending $230 million with, is closer to playing than we think he is, which is probably evidenced by the fact that he was out there practicing. And I wouldn't have given up a third or a fourth round pick for Jacoby Brissett. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Welcome into the show.
Thanks, Dave. So, with Andrew Berry, he did give that contract to Watson, but let's keep in mind that was also a huge ownership decision too. So Jimmy Haslam had a lot to do with that. Actually had to sign off in order for that deal to happen. So, but when it comes to Andrew Berry, DPJ, I see people are kind of upset with, well, you traded DPJ for nothing. Like you said, he wasn't coming back. You drafted Tillman. You didn't extend DPJ. You knew DPJ was gone. And if anything, I think what you did was DPJ a favor. You sent him home to Detroit. You still got an asset for him. We might never see that draft pick because we might use it in a future trade. Andrew Berry, one thing that he is good at is when he makes a trade, he's normally getting a pick back in return of some sort. Or if he makes a deal for a player, he is getting a pick swap involved too, is something that you want to see. But also, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, this Browns team was not even in a playoff discussion when they got here originally. They have turned this roster completely around and made them a playoff contender. And they still are a playoff contender. And there were a lot of people that wanted the Browns to go out and get Jacoby Brissett. When Washington is demanding a day 2 pick for Brissett, because it sounds like they didn't even want to trade Jacoby Brissett. And the thing is, when they went out and the Browns wanted, it sounded like they inquired about Brissett, but when that's a day 2 pick, clearly they think Watson's going to be back soon. You don't give up a day 2 pick for a rental backup quarterback. It just doesn't make any sense. So you know what? Andrew Berry's done a lot, and, fans are frustrated. I get it. Deshaun Watson hasn't played a lot this year. I think we're all frustrated, but yeah, Andrew Berry's done plenty since he's been here as general manager of the Browns.